Hold on, guys. Going live on YouTube. Give me 1 second. Dun, 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 dun. What up? What up? Guys, last night wasn't a bad night. I did end up catching UK 100 buys. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. I'll go over them right now. We didn't take anything on NQ. If you guys remember, it was just kind of slow. Price action has been whatever this week, to be honest. It's been whatever. Yo, what's up? 4LV 1NX 1NX. Oh, sorry for the fucking ads. I'm trying to get some music started here. Let's play some Afro House. Hopefully it's not too loud. What's up, guys? So let's go over yesterday. Right, obviously NQ didn't take anything. I did take something on UK 100. Okay, I told you guys I was going to wait for this break here, but I was kind of just chilling on the markets for a little bit after, and this was such a good trade. Okay, again, if you remember, the 4 hour was bullish. Okay, we had a pullback. Then we saw the internal structure of the hourly flip bullish as well. Okay, right here, this leg. And then after seeing the hourly flip bullish, what did we see? We saw a pullback here. Okay, then we saw the 15-minute or the internal structure of this hourly bullish leg flip bullish. We had a pretty deep pullback of this internal leg here. Okay, but nonetheless, it was still obviously broke structure, right? Price never broke these lows down here. Price never broke these lows. And then on the 5-minute, I noticed that we did break with some very good displacement these highs. So I did end up taking entry at 50%. Did end up running. I caught about a 1 to 2 here. I should have held longer. Again, I could have held into these highs. My first target, or my overall target was, am I muted? Can you guys hear me? Or is it just him? Hold on. All right. So I could have caught a little bit more than a 1 to 2. We could have caught a full about a 1 to 3 if we would aim for these highs. Because again, these highs in theory should have been taken, or I mean based off probabilities, because again, if you remember, we had expanded higher, breaking the structure, we had a pullback. So realistically, even though we took an internal trade, this swing structure was still very promising to play out. So we could have had a little bit longer. It is what it is. But nonetheless, beautiful trade. Okay, still caught a nice little 1 to 2. I really can't complain about that. As far as today, again, if you guys remember, I mainly wanted to enter once price broke these highs and then look for the trend to start within the 15-minute. Okay, so one, we obviously missed entry. It happened a little bit before London opened, so I can't take that. But if we go down to the 5-minute, let's see if we see anything. You know, we do see maybe this structure here. If we do come up, break this structure during London open, we could take the next leg higher within this internal structure, truly. But knowing UK 100, we could just end up ripping these highs, which from there on out, we'll still end up playing the same bullish leg. But I will continue to buy here, right? The reason I'm going to continue to buy is because, again, what does the 4-hour narrative tell us? We are already bullish. We had a pullback, so we should end up coming back up into these highs. The probability is just sitting very, very buy-sided, okay? Probably not the best way to put it, but you get what I'm saying. So I will be looking for buys on UK 100. We'll see. DAX, on the other hand, let's check DAX. I didn't take anything on DAX. DAX look good, though. Fuck. Now that I look at it, what the fuck? I didn't take DAX. DAX doesn't look bad for sells. And we could actually still catch something today. So the 15-minute, again, let's go to the higher time frames here. Same thing as UK 100, kind of. 4-hour expansion, pullback, 1-hour expansion. What do we need to see after this 1-hour internal expansion? Obviously a pullback before the continuation higher. It doesn't have to, but this is where we can go down to lower time frames and we start to see the 15-minute internal structure is bearish. So if we compare that with some type of 5-minute setup, which looks like it's already playing out from this high to this low, we've already had a pullback. So we'll see, right? If price does end up continuing lower, then we'll play the next leg lower, 100%. I'm actually very confident in potentially playing that new leg down. I don't like going up like opposing bias. Like again, I'm looking for buys on UK 100, and obviously DAX is more or less looking more like sells. I'm not saying they always do the same thing. Okay, but a lot of times we will have the same kind of opening and stuff like that. What's up, Alvin? So we'll see what happens. I prefer UK 100. I think UK 100 is a lot higher probability as far as continuing to see buys here. Okay, but obviously UK 100 is still nice. What chart is DAX on Legacy? So DAX and UK 100 is not on Legacy, but I do trade my live account. Some other people do as well, but we're also trading NQ. So let's see what NQ is giving us. NQ just has not been ideal. So we did end up facilitating the pullback. If you guys remember from even, was that last week? We had created this hourly expansion, okay, of this internal structure where we could potentially expect price to have a pullback. And even if it doesn't necessarily continue higher, we just expected a pullback of this leg here. We did end up getting that. But now that we've got that, we need to look a little bit closer of the actual true range that we'd be playing within today. And it's this leg here. This is the true leg we're playing in right here. I don't want to sell. I don't. I'm not saying sells can't play out, okay? But I just am not interested in sells. I know yesterday I was looking for buys too. Price continued to dip down. You know, it is what it is. What up, Ant? How do I set my username for those having trouble logging into DX Trade? Your username should be your email. Should be your email. But going back to NAS, let's kind of go to lower time frames to see what we're really dealing with, even on the lower time frames. What I'm liking here, well, one, we're sitting near Asia highs, sitting near Asia lows. I mean, not near Asia lows. We're just in between the range here. We haven't taken Asia lows. We did take some really good liquidity from New York. Okay, that's very nice as far as potentially seeing buys. Let's look at the 5 minute. The 5 minute did break. We're just not in a good area. We're not. I'm just not a fan of how NASDAQ has been. Just not ideal. Hold on. Let me take a look at this. We have a lot of liquidity seeing higher. London highs, New York highs, Asia highs. So again, like even ignoring that, I still like the idea of buys just based off the fact we're overextended within this 15-minute leg. We know that we can see a pullback, okay? But the one biggest thing is the 5 minute internal structure is still bearish technically. We did break this low on the 5 minute, even though it looks more or less liquidity sweep. We did break it on the 5 minute. 15 minute we didn't, but we had a pullback after. We kind of struggled to break lower. Like again, like I'm gonna be looking for, I don't want to say any type of buying scenario. Just looks whatever, man. I mean, sells actually look decent. And the reason sells look decent is because, like, if we're playing this 1 minute structure, like this internal structure here, we did end up starting to trend pretty nicely. Okay. We had another pullback. Looks like, again, like I would want to see price come take Asia highs. And I don't like really selling when we're this close to Asia highs. But what I do see here is some liquidation. I do see expansion to the downside. We had a pullback, never broke, had another pullback. So I'd want to see price break here again. If price breaks here again and starts some type of internal bearish trend on the minute, we could look for some type of quick little sell-off, and that would pretty much just to be just whatever. Fuck. It's not ideal. Like, we would definitely just be playing this leg here. It'd be this leg. Yo, what's up, Casper? And Q has just not been giving. Not at all. Yeah, really the only thing that we could look for is, one, if we break lower, then we will look for the continuation of sells within this internal bearish trend. But the one factor is, and we took a loss last week with something like this, where when we're sitting this close to Asia highs, it is a little bit iffy. But the only reason I'd be willing to take sells is due to the fact that we've already kind of shown signs as far as breaking internal lows. So if we break this next lower low and actually start a trend where we're seeing multiple lower lows and lower highs, then at that point, there's a little bit more confirmation that we could have a short-term sell-off before we end up coming back up into Asia highs. So that's the only reason I'm willing to take this, unless price does it totally opposite at open. Again, we have open in 30 seconds, so we could just see price end up flying. And if that's the case, that's the case. It is what it is. I actually wouldn't mind that because at that point, we've taken Asia highs. We've created better internal bullish structure. And then we could, again, I would still be looking to play the pullback either way, no matter what. So, do you trade gold? Rarely. Heard Mark caught a banger today. We have open in 1 second. Let's see what I primarily want to watch UK 100 and stuff like that. I do think we are going to expand higher here, guys. Truly. I wish we would have gotten entry. Even though I caught this trade yesterday, I really wish I would have been able to get entry at this area as well of this swing 15-minute leg. Because again, we caught the internal structure that created the swing break of structure, that created that new swing leg. So with this new swing leg being created and this high being broken, we would end up still playing this low to this high. Okay, so this is why I think this would have been a valid trade. And I do think it's going to end up hitting for sure. Okay, I can't say for sure, but probability wise, like I do think it's at a higher probability to hit. The only thing is, again, this happened a little bit too early for us. I wasn't paying attention, and two, I really don't enter until London open. And then I will look to enter potentially later on as like far as New York. But then during Asia, after Asia, I'm just kind of off. The chart's not really looking for anything, but this would have been a really good setup if you guys did enter off this 15-minute swing leg. I mean, you're already pushing profits here, but again, I'm still looking to enter here, potentially, depending on how we react. And if we break these highs here, we could be looking for something of quality. Even then, like, I still would prefer this. The only way I take this entry here at a break of this high is if we have really good displacement. But at that point, if we have really good displacement, we just may end up breaking that high. So NAS, it is kind of going lower, so we could be looking for short-term sells here, guys. DAX, DAX sold. I mean, again, same thing with DAX. I told you guys, sells look very good on DAX. From this high to this low, this would have been very promising. But again, when did it hit? Was that 7 in the morning? Actually, I could have taken that. But I think I was knocked out. Yeah. So this was another good setup here too as well. Obviously in New York session, but nonetheless, we took liquidity of these highs, expanded lower, broke some internal lows. Could have entered at 50%, and you would have been approaching a 101 here soon. We could play the next leg lower. Just depends on how far price does expand to the downside here. Truly. The fuck is playing? Oh, let me pay attention to NAS here. All right. This will be our leg we're playing within. We need to see a full closure beneath this low. Okay, we really do. Before we even think about entering anything. Let's correct this. About a 500 point stop. 500 risk, 35 point stop as of right now. Could be higher, is depending on how far price expands its range. We still haven't broken these lows. We did on the 30-second, but I kind of want to see it happen on the minute here. It's because it's also a minute setup. Yeah, I want to see a little bit of a better break here, guys. Let's fix this up. It would suck if price just ended up selling off without us, but at the end of the day, if direction's correct and we just don't get entry, I still can't complain at the end of the day. This music is shit. Hold on. What the fuck is playing, man? Alright. Obviously, our range keeps expanding. Again, if price does end up selling off deep within this leg into 50% without us, then I won't be taking sells here. But I doubt we're really going to get that big of a push to the downside. Another 40 points. I mean, we could, hypothetically speaking. We've had the breaker structure. Okay, everything looks good here. We took these highs. This is actually a pretty good setup here. Can't even lie to you. Everything fits within my setup. Yeah, it's 100% trade score trade. Everything's pretty much checked off. We're just waiting for the 50 to say 1% retracement. This was a nice sweep of liquidity of these highs. So let's make sure this is correct. 40 points. So I'll be risking about 6 contracts, guys, on M and Q. Place our limits here. Place our stop at that high. Let's see. Let's see if we get tapped in here, guys. Hopefully have a nice little win to start off the week with NQ. Again, the only concern here, guys, is these Asia highs. But the only reason I'm willing to take this is because we actually have started an internal trend. Breaking these lows, having to pull back, breaking another lower low. That is very ideal for us. So we can even look at it from a 30-second view. Looks good. And again, our higher time frame alignment that we are really looking at here is the fact that this 1 minute internal structure did expand higher. It would have been nicer again to see a break of this high. It really would have been. But nonetheless, this was still a decent expansion of this internal structure. We broke these highs. So price could be looking to pull back here first and then expand higher. That could be something that we could be seeing. This is why I love these trades, because it doesn't really matter what happens after the fact. We're just looking for that internal trend. And based off that internal trend, we're just looking to make or take a little short term move down into a pullback. So it'd be 6 contracts with 500 risk. So again, risk appropriately, guys. The only thing that I don't like is these Asia highs. That is kind of bothering me a little bit. Very much so. Again, we still have Asia low sitting down here. So, but again, I have to take this. And the reason I have to take this is because it's my setup. Truly. The only way that something like this, again, fails is if we just want to seek liquidity of Asia highs and then we just end up going higher and we get fucked on this trade. But I'd rather take this trade and lose than not take this trade knowing it's my setup and watching it play out. Again, that's why I say risk appropriately. Don't over risk, don't over leverage just because I'm taking it. Again, I'm keeping my risk the same as always, right? Just because, again, there is obviously risk at hand as far as us still getting hoed on this trade and losing. But at the same time, again, there's enough probabilities for me to feel confident in taking this trade because downside, you know, we do have probabilities to go down here. Looks like we're about to get tapped in here. Hopefully we don't get a rush of volume. If we literally miss and rip down, I'm going to be so sad. Do you think DAX is about to break, starting to hit resistance? The amount of volume we got, we probably will end up breaking this low, truly. And if we do break this low, okay, I will be playing this new range here, potentially back to the downside because we still have room based off this hourly leg to take price further down to facilitate the pullback of this bullish leg here. Okay, at least into the 50%. So I like DAX. UK 100, kind of stuttering, hesitating. I'll probably end up waiting for the break of the true high up here on UK 100. Did we get tapped in? No. Again, my stops are all the way up here, guys, because price can fluctuate pretty deep within our range. Because, again, this is the range we're playing within right now. Price could come as far as here, take some of the liquidity from these highs of this internal liquidity, and then it could sell off, right? So that's why my stops are up here. If you guys want shorter stops, that's fine. You could catch a bigger RR if price just reverses from our entry point, but at the same time, you're opening yourself up to more risk that your stop loss gets hit premature, but price still stays valid within this bearish leg, and we could still see the sell-off that we're looking for. Five-minute looks whatever. Looks like we got entry. Nope. Literally just edged it. Yeah, it should be. Derek. Going for sells, yeah. Gonna go for some sells here. It's a really good setup. Again, everything's checked off. We have liquidity sweep, break of structure. We have some imbalancing right here before entry. We have higher time frame alignment. Again, I was saying earlier, just the only thing is these Asia highs. It's a little bit of a worrisome, but no way we don't get tapped in here. That'd be very upsetting if we don't get tapped in and price runs here. That'd be very, very upsetting. Wow. If it runs without us, I'm logging off instantly on GoFuck. I mean, again, I can't be mad if price plays out exactly how I'm expecting price to play out, but being missed by probably a tick or two, very just wow, it happens. It's trading at the end of the day, but I'm just noticing that this 5-minute imbalance of this previous candle got filled and we topped wick that. We could just end up shorting from there. I'm not in yet though, guys. I think price is going to leave without us, to be honest. Maybe not, but we'll see. DAX tanked. If you guys caught like this breakout of this area here, you probably made some good money. I really wish I would have gotten this too, though. I can't lie, from the other day, but I was asleep during that time. That would have been nice. We would have been really close to 101, which would have been our break even. UK 100 is still stuttering, but that's fine. Again, I'm going to wait on UK 100 for the break of this high. And then once we get a break of that high, depending on where our range does decide to stop going higher, I will be setting some limits of this new range to then take price higher. All right, we got tapped in, guys. Let's see what happens here. Again, make sure you're risking appropriately. You never know what can happen. Obviously, I do expect price to run here. We're at a higher probability for sells, but you guys know what happened last week. We kind of got slapped around a little bit last week. I mean, last week wasn't bad. Like, we really just got wicked out and price ran our direction. 2 out of the 3 trades that we took, which sucks, but let's see what happens today. Again, first target is these lows. Once we get to these lows, I will move to break even and then let price run into our 1 and 2. But yeah, going back to UK 100, I will be waiting for something more or less like this. But we'll see if we get that. It'll definitely be just based off how UK 100 is moving. It'll probably be a while, a couple hours for sure, to say the least. But that's what I'll be waiting for. DAX, again, break of these lows is what I'm looking for. As long as we don't just dump. Oh my god. Fucking ads. Are you in UK 100? No. I'm in, sorry, YouTube, I wasn't paying attention. I'm in NAS. Now I'm in NAS. Yeah, I'm in NAS sales right now, guys. But in UK 100, no. We did take UK 100 buys yesterday. I did a little bit after stream. Caught that nice little 1 and 2. Waiting for UK 100. DAX, on the other hand, like I was saying, I want to see a break of this low. Okay. If we get a break of this low, at that point, we are setting ourselves up with a new bearish internal leg where we can look to take price even further down. But like I was saying, if we just end up melting, which would be a pretty big move to melt that far down all the way into 50%, then at that point, I'm going to scratch sells and just kind of sit on my hands and wait for a price to give us something else. Because again, I mean, price can go deep, obviously, within discount of this new bullish leg. But there's been times, quite a bit of times, where price, can just hit the 50% here. And after the 50% hit, it could just rip in the opposite direction. That's definitely something that could happen. So that's why I would totally throw out the idea of sells once we hit the 50%. But if we're already in a trade, if we come down break and we get in this trade, we'll be at break even once 101 gets hit, and then we'll obviously look to take price hopefully down into a deeper discounted level. That's if price is willing to go deeper within discount. But nonetheless, we'll be at break even either way. So, but we'll see. I do think we'll probably end up getting entry on DAX. So if we get a sell off here, guys, on NAS, as long as we get to our risk free, I'm fine with that. Obviously, I want to hit our full 1 and 2 today. but we'll see what happens. Truly, we had a decent reaction at equilibrium, so I'm hoping price just continues with some good volume to the downside here, guys, but only time will tell. Dax always feeds. Let's go. Why are you sending your Instagram? We don't want to see that. Oil sells clean. Got a little Antrobus sells, so we get Sarkit. Yeah. It sucks when you get in late because then usually you either are catching less RR, depending on where your stop is. Again, my stops is at these highs for a reason. But obviously, like being that we just react off 50%, like let's say you did have a shorter stop like here. Obviously, if you were to target the 50%, you're going to catch a full 1 to 4, right? But me, because my stops are up here, I'm only going to catch about a 1 to 2, which I'm fine with that because again, there's been a lot of times where price will come deep within this range and then make it sell off. And that's just kind of a, again, it's protected highs for a reason. If price were to have gone up here and taken these highs, the likeliness that price was just going to go higher from there on out is very high because this is our area where price should not pass. This was our high that led to a break of structure. This is our strong high. Okay. But we're getting some good volume here. Hopefully we hit our 101 and we can go to break even, have a nice little risk-free trade. You guys can take profits at any point in time, but I do and I will end up holding for pretty much my 1 to 2. Our equilibrium of this leg is about a 1.95 RR, which isn't a full 1 to 2. I mean, we're literally barely off, but I'm going to exit there to be a little bit more safe. But again, as we're in profits, feel free to take profits at any point in time. But hopefully we don't get that volume that we just got there. I'd be pretty fucking pressed if we just absolutely got hoed on this trade here. Just because we're having good volume to the downside. Hopefully we top wick here, but that was a little bit ugly volume. I'm still not at break even. Again, guys, if you guys want to go to break even, by all means go to break even. But the reason I'm not going to break even is because I have to follow my plan. Again, it's very systematic in that sense and very disciplined in that sense. Even if we were to barely missed our 101 and shot all the way up and I took a loss, I have to take that loss. I have to. I mean, it's just, again, following my plan is, super important to me as far as, again, if we would have moved to break even early, price could end up coming up, taking us out of break even and then selling back off. And then at that point, it's just like prematurely moving to break even actually would potentially hurt us in that situation. Obviously, we don't know if that's going to be the situation at hand, but it could be. It's just an example. But I hold my trades until I either hit stop loss or I get to my first target, which is a 101, and we can move to break even. Hopefully we see volume back to the downside here. That's really what I'm looking for. 5 minute doesn't look terrible. The 15 minute looks whatever. Fully exiting at 785. Okay. Yeah, 101 right there, depending on where you entered. That's where I will be moving to break even. So. But price is kind of not looking too good now. It was looking good off the rip. I don't like that. One thing I'm noticing is this 15-minute did lead some imbalance here. We could come up and fill that imbalance momentarily and then sell back off. But again, do as you guys please. I'm still stop loss is still all the way up here. So if we get hit, we get hit. But if you guys haven't yet, even if you have, again, remember, Legacy Funded Futures, you can use code Nick to get a discount on your next account. If you guys haven't yet, go ahead and do so. All right, we filled that 15-minute. Hopefully we just get downside from there on out after filling the imbalance. The imbalance I was talking about was on this 15-minute closure. We did leave some imbalance here within this candle, so we could just be mitigating that, filling that fair value, and then looking to sell back off. But we'll see. Bro, why you start trading? Why did I start trading? Biggest reason, I think everyone's reason, maybe not the biggest, was obviously the money aspect, but another big reason was time freedom. Like just being able to trade and make money and have the whole day to myself and not work 8 hours at a shift was very eye-opening to me in the sense of like I really wanted that. Especially like I was thinking about my future. Like when I have kids, like I want to definitely be able to give a lot of time to my kids. And when you work, you can still give a lot of time to your kids, but I feel like it's a lot less time, truly. And I just want to be able to, when I do have kids, always be there for my kids in the sense of, being able to play sports with them, take them to sports and stuff like that. This guy here, what trades you taking so far? What are you in? I'm in NQ right now. NQ sells. But obviously, everyone has their own reasons for starting trading. I think everyone's biggest reason, like I said, is the money aspect as far as making money. But I think the second biggest thing is the time freedom that comes with it. Is it too late to get into sales? That's up to you. I wouldn't enter sales, truly, because we're already near our first TP and we've already been, selling off a decent amount. You'd be getting a very late entry and probably having a very big stop. You could enter with a different stop loss, but that could actually hurt you if price does end up wanting to come back up here. But we're selling off pretty hard right now. So the only way you could re-enter is if, like, let's say we do end up coming down, breaking this low, then we're actually creating a new bearish internal leg, and then you could wait for the next sell off from there on out. But we'll see what happens. I'm hoping price continues with this bearish volume to the downside and we can go risk free here. And not just keep getting teased like this at this level. For some reason, price is just not wanting to surpass this. But we'll see right now. Of course. But yeah, like usually, guys, if I'm in a trade already, if we're still at break even, then yeah, you can still enter. But if we're not at break even, it's just, if we're in drawdown, yeah, you can still enter. But obviously we're in drawdown, I'd wait. But if we're already in, profits, I always say it's just probably not worth entering. Just because of the fact that, again, you're probably just going to get a horrible entry. I mean, if price does end up winning, great. You'll probably still make some money. But what if price does end up reversing on us? Then you're either losing more money than what you intended, or you should have just waited for the next day. What makes legacy funding a different proffer? Well, we have very standard rules, and we actually have some of the biggest payout caps in the industry compared to a lot of these other firms. A lot of these other firms, 2K payout caps and stuff like that. Ours go, I think, up to over 10K. So I think more than 10K. Price is fucking with me at this point. Again, do what you guys want at this point. I'm in this trade to be in this trade. I'm hoping price does give us that last little push down here to finally get us to break even. Again, we're really just waiting for this low to be hit, but we're just kind of playing around here. I don't like that. I'm not prematurely moving to break even. We talked about this the other day too, because there was another situation where we were in sells, it was running in our direction, and then it kind of just started hesitating near break even. And I did talk about potentially moving to break even premature, but here's the thing with that is, one, I'd be breaking my rules. Okay, I'm a very big advocate on not breaking my rules and actually showing you guys that it's very important to follow my rules or follow your rules. And when it comes to potentially like moving to break even prematurely in the future, again, let's say price did end up fucking us over here. Like, obviously we're in sells here. Okay. Let's delete this. Obviously we're in sells here. Let's say price doesn't ever come down like we intended to. It does end up just flying up here. Okay. And we could have moved to break even early, and that break even would have saved us. Yes, it could have. But I'd rather take the loss here and follow my rules and then use this as a piece of data for in the future, potentially seeing, okay, how many times has this happened to us? Especially me, not necessarily us. How many times has this happened to me where price does move our direction a decent amount and then hesitates around break even, where I could have moved to break even and saved us? And then how many times, like let's say price, obviously we could have moved to break even, been out of break even right now. But let's say we would have done that, and let's say price does end up coming back down. Then obviously moving to break even would have actually hurt us, because then we would have been missing out on a trade that was still valid, because it's still valid until we end up taking these highs. It truly is, right? But that's why data is so important, is because you guys got to understand, like, even with my system and following my system, I'm always still looking for ways to potentially, better myself within my own trading, have less losses, have more wins. And if that is, identifying a trend that's continuously happening, and that trend could be, we've been having a lot of situations where price is moving in our direction and then comes back up and we lose, and we're losing because, again, like we're, haven't moved to break even. And then obviously I'll make the, decision based off of data to start potentially moving to break even premature. Okay. And that means, like, let's say we push into our direction, even if we haven't hit a 101, but we push pretty solid in our direction. In the future, I may just move to break even. Okay. But obviously, I'm not talking about tomorrow. Like, obviously, I need to get a lot of data to back up that approach, to back up that change. And even with a lot of data, that change may not even be backed up because, like I said, there has been times where we will get into our entry, price will push in our direction, come back up into drawdown, and then come back down into profits, where that data is telling us a different story, where it's telling us it's actually not worth moving to break even early because it's, could hurt us more than help us. So we'll see what happens here. Price is just kind of fucking around. It's pissing me off. I'm hoping we just get some volume to the downside here, really just finally break these lows and get to our appropriate level where I'm feel comfortable moving to break even, and then we can go from there. But this is just kind of pissing me off in the sense of how price is moving. Well, now we're getting some good bearish volume here, but if we bottom wick here, then that's going to be ugly. They almost, like, if we do bottom wick here after filling this imbalance, then that's going to make me want to move to break even early. But again, like I said, I'm still not. We're hopefully we get this last little push into this area and stop fucking edging me, man. Super close to 101, I know, but price is being a bitch. This is what happened to us last week. I mean, we didn't have any situations where price got this close to 101, but price was just kind of fucking with us like this last week, where we were, getting very good, entries, and then price was kind of just stuttering for a little bit, consolidating, and then it'd wick us out and then move our direction, which we had a pretty good close here, guys. If you guys want to pay attention to this, I don't really pay too much attention. It is still nice information. We did have a fair value gap here. We did end up inversing that fair value gap, so I'm hoping we just kind of flip from there after inversing that and continue to make our way down here for at least just break even. I'm fine with a break even day. Obviously, I do think once we break these lows, I'm hoping we do make the rest of our way down into our full 1 to 2. But the way price has been moving on NASDAQ has been very inconsistent, very choppy, which sucks. But see what I mean? It's just fucking with us. I have a habit of exiting early when prices close my TP, but trying to hold on this time. I mean, it's understandable in some situations, okay? But here's the way I like to look at it is if we're going to lose, we're going to lose. There's no stopping that. If price wants to go up, it's going to go up. Like, there's really no telling, like, when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen. That's the way I like to look at it, because then it just helps with my mental, and has always helped my mental in the acceptance of price is going to do what it wants to do. The best thing that you can do is just follow your system. Obviously, my system, I know it works. I know it plays out. We've seen it day in, day out. I see it every single day. Maybe not every single day in the sense of always seeing our setups, but majority of the times it will play out. That's where I'm very strict in just following my plan. But like I said earlier, I get so much data because of the fact that something can change within the markets, even if it's something minor within our management plan that is worth noting, because if we do need to change it as we go into the future, then obviously it's worth changing if it's going to overall help us. So again, when it comes to you moving to TP early, if that's something you recognize, okay, you just need a little bit more discipline in your approach or in your system or in yourself to follow your system, right? Again, moving to TP early could have been a good thing for you because you would have made money, and if price obviously shoots back up here, you would have saved yourself from a loss or break even, whatever it may be, right? But that could have just been that situation. There could be a bunch of situations where you move your TP too early and price just ends up ripping down in the other direction, and you would have made a shit ton of money. So again, very strict in telling myself every single day, if we're gonna lose, we're gonna lose. Like, there's no stopping that. And if we try to stop that, that's actually just worse than just letting ourselves lose. Truly, it is. It does come with time, like Lexi said, and sticking, with sticking to the same system, it does. But no matter what system you're trading with, again, like, you have a system for a reason. You have a system for a reason. You have an edge if you have a system, I like to say, or at least you should. And based off that, like, that in itself should tell you, okay, I should follow my system because I have it for a reason. If I'm not going to follow my system, then why even have a fucking system? But again, we're being edged here very hard. It's ticking me off a little bit, but like I said, You know, if you guys want to move to break even, we have made a good push to the downside. I just, really need to wait for that little bit extra here. We just need some volume to the downside here, truly. Little push here. Give us Nick candle. Nick candles are bullish, by the way, crew. Nick candles go up, they don't go down. Down is Drake candles. I thought we've been over this shit before. Price is out for you, Nick. I know, Price is just trying to fuck with me right now. Yo, do you guys take partial? How do you take partial on legacy? So like, let's say you're in 6 contracts. You can just obviously lower your contracts. And then if we're in sells, you would buy back as many contracts as you want to close. So if we're in 6 contracts and you want to close 2 contracts, since we're in sells, you would buy 2 contracts, and then that would close 2 of your contracts here. Price is pissing me the fuck off. We're just consolidating way too long. It just gives me the idea that sellers are just not really in control here, and they're just, it's a little bit annoying. Again, if you guys want to close early and profits, take partials. I just told you guys how to take partials. Just close. Again, if you're in 6, 8, 4 contracts, just lower your contracts if you have a bracket order. Or over here, if you're not in a bracket order and you're on trade LMT, same thing. You would just, whatever contracts you want to close, go to 1 or 2 contracts in this, and then press, obviously since we're in sells, you would buy. So Lexi, you fucking jinxed us. Yeah, my move B here. Let's take it too long. We still have Asia highs. Yeah, that's the one thing. Like, I'd want to move to break even early, guys, is because of these Asia highs. And then, if buyers are really fighting this hard and sellers aren't really taking price anywhere and we're just consolidating, we could just have been within this first initial sell off, and price could still end up flying up here and taking Asia highs. And that's really a fear here. Hopefully on this next candle we do end up making our push to the downside here, because I really don't want to take a loss today, especially already being in profit for so long. But I mean, I hate having to move to break even earlier, but I'm very tempted to. I know I was just preaching about sticking to my system, but it's just after seeing how price has been obviously making continuous pushes to the downside, we took liquidity of these highs, made another push, and we're just kind of consolidating here. It's just very ugly, very ugly. It's just giving me the idea that sellers aren't really in control anymore, and buyers are kind of pushing back, and it's pretty shit. It's pretty fucking disgusting. Felt we're missing proper liquidity sweep. Yeah, like we took these highs. We took these highs, but it would have been better if we would have taken Asia highs. Truly. Truly, truly, truly. It's just kind of annoying me though. Trading at point of control. Where's point of control down here? Hoping that 30-minute flips though. We just filled that 30-minute imbalance from that 30-minute closure. We still have really good imbalance to the downside, to be honest. But we did end up filling the 1 hour imbalance. That looks ugly. 30-minute looks good. Hourly looks ugly. DAX. Oh shit. Yeah, everybody get the break on DAX, guys. So depending on where this range ends, so obviously price could continue down a little bit further, but once we start getting that pullback, I will set my limits to take price back down on DAX. UK 100's out of the picture for now. You're so cute, bro. Crazy. Crazy, bro. Thank you, though. What's not cute is fucking NASDAQ right now. It's actually pissing me off. Close trade 261W. Yeah, guys, again, you can close your trade whenever you guys want. We have been in profits for a while. Price is just kind of fucking with us at this point. If we don't make our push down right here with this volume, I don't even know what to say. But I'm hoping we finally fucking do it. Oh my gosh, please. All right, break even. Yes, finally. Fuck. Break even, guys. RDW trade. About fucking time. All right, and we're holding down into this area here, guys. We are holding down into our equilibrium of this 1 hour expansion. Hopefully catch a nice little 1 to 2 here to have a actual winning day, but it's RDW day. Fuck, that pissed me off. But again, the reason I'm at break even at this point, especially at this point and not later on and just keeping stops open, is because within this bearish leg, price obviously, all it has to do is just take this low. That's all. That's being that we're within a bearish trend, price just technically speaking needs to take this low and then it can just fucking fly from here. Okay, obviously we're hoping for the next leg lower. We're just really hoping that volume takes over and does push lower. But damn, I should have stayed. It's all good, Marino. You still made money. You made a decision based off how you thought, like what you thought at the time. But at the end of the day, like the biggest thing I can say is being that you closed early and now you're saying you should have held, get data, take a picture of it, go into a journal, and in that journal write down, hey, I did exit a little bit early, maybe out of fear, out of panic, and that cost me an extra couple $100, whatever it may be. And then based off that, now and you're starting to collect data on, one, yourself and how you reacted at the time, and two, you're getting data on price and how price really did end up playing out into at least these lows. Because again, within a trend, like when we see price start trending, what do we usually see? Price obviously will come and take these highs, have a higher high, or in this case, it would, be a lower low, and then lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, until it's eventually time to flip. And it'll do the same thing. Let's hopefully continue to get a push here. Really just waiting for this level. Let's see if we can end up hitting that. This will be our take profit here, guys. A plus setup, bro. Nice. Yes, it was a really good setup. Like I said, the only thing that was really against us was Asia highs sitting up here. But the fact that we had already created internal bearish structure and then we waited for the second leg down did tell us that price was now trending internally. So what price could do here on out, and the reason I like that we got entry at 50% is this is our new leg. This is our new internal bearish leg. So actually, we could look for another entry here. The reason I'm not is because I'm already in a trade, but this could be another potential entry because what are we doing? We're just trending lower and lower. We made it obviously a lower high. We just made a new lower low. So from this lower high to this lower low, this is our new internal bearish range. And you could look for another entry to take price down once again. Again, I'm not going to, add to my position here. We technically could, but I'm just not really interested. I'm just hoping that price does end up reacting off of these levels and then continues back down to our full 1 to 2. But we'll see what happens, truly. But the reason I like that we got entry, like price didn't go deeper within drawdown, is because being that we still stayed around the 50%, that means obviously if these highs get broken and our break even gets taken, then price is most likely going to continue higher. Whereas if we would have had obviously price run deeper and then sell off, then our high would have been all the way up here and our low would have been all the way up here. And this could actually hurt us because then price could have a deeper pullback, take us out of break even, but still stay valid within the high that was created if it was created all the way up here. So Um, I don't know if it'd be considered SMC. I guess in some senses maybe, but I mainly just understand price action, and it's really just price action trading. Like obviously I use concepts like liquidity sweeps and stuff like that, and balance, to, stuff like that. But I say it's just the understanding of price action and multi-time frame analysis. And again, the reason I say multi-time frame analysis is because, like, let's say looking at the higher time frames, we're bullish. So based off the fact that we're bullish and the understanding of one, price action, and that will have a pullback. Okay, I know that we can have a pullback. So if I see lower time frame price action starting to shift bearish, I will be comfortable in taking that because my multi-time frame analysis tells me that the higher time frames are in need of a pullback. So we have a target and we have probabilities that price can pull back. And then what confirms it is the lower time frame price action starting to shift bearish, where then we can confidently say, okay, price is most likely starting its pullback now, and we can target and play within this pullback. And then from there, we could play higher, and based off, pretty much multi-time frame analysis, sometimes we're sitting within an even higher, like an hour, an hourly leg or something like that, where this trade is worth taking, because now what we're seeing within structure is we're now bullish and trending bullish within the internal structure of that even higher time frame leg. Okay. I'm in EST, so gonna sleep on a high note. Yes, sir. I'll see you tomorrow. Multi-time frame analysis is, I think, I think multi-time frame analysis, the true understanding of multi-time frame analysis and how like all time frames kind of do align in some way, shape, or form is very important to learn and understand. Because you see it day in, day out, and especially once you start actually paying attention to it. Like if you're in here all the time, you see me do it every single day. You see me explain it. You see me trade based off of it. And again, like, I think it's very important, no matter what you're trading, even if you trade ICT, even if you trade breakouts. I think the understanding of multi-time frame analysis can be very important because, when it comes to like breakouts and stuff like that, the understanding of the higher time frame is still very important. Like with DAX, like on DAX, we know that price was bearish within this leg. We had a pullback from a higher time frame standpoint, and you could have played a breakout of some type of low, knowing that, okay, price has already facilitated a pullback. In theory, we should end up coming back into these lows. So with that understanding of the higher time frame, you could have went to the lower time frame and played a breakout of some type of structure like this, where price obviously aggressively broke that area, and you can just take it down into these lows, which would have been a nasty move. So 1 to 3 basically. Mom was saying he doesn't give a fuck. Yeah, again, like, you don't necessarily like it, like, to each their own is what I always say, because in some cases it can play a big role, but at the same time, when it comes to breakout trading too, it may just be better off sticking to your time frame, because especially with Mamba, here's one thing with Mamba is you have to remember he trades at such a high volume hour where price, if it's going to go a direction, it's typically going to go a direction for a decent amount. Okay, unless it's a fake out to go the other direction. But typically once it picks a direction at 6:30 open, there's so much volume that you're typically going to get a nice little runner for, at least 30 to 60 to 90 points, especially on NASDAQ, especially on US 30, right? So that's where you don't necessarily need it in those situations where you're trading a high volume hour, where it's not necessarily, useful to you in the sense of price is going to catch volume. And if you can catch that wave of volume, you're good. You're solid. You're set. What's up, Tanish? What's up? What's up? Is Legacy planning on getting Trade Locker? I don't think so. But we will be getting a new platform very soon, guys, where you can copy trade. So, but let's see what price does here. Hopefully we don't get taken out of break even. If we do, it is what it is. Break even's better than a loss. But I'm hoping that price does end up holding within this leg here and does end up selling off from there on out. In theory, it should, but nonetheless, it doesn't have to, especially being that we do still have Asia highs sitting up here, and we could be looking to seek those at some point in time. But we'll see, especially because it's at the 30-minute. We still have some imbalance down here in the 30 minutes, so I'm hoping that price does end up making its way back down here, giving us that full 1 to 2. But again, it doesn't necessarily have to. That's why I do move to break even in case of situations like this where price is not looking to go any lower. But this is basically our last line of defense. This order block may be sitting here. It'd suck if price did end up wicking our break even and then selling back off. But again, I'm at break even, guys. If you took profits, great. our break even might get hit very soon, you know, depending if price does fail at this order block to end up selling back off. But it always auto exits. What do you mean? If you're having problems, I would take a screenshot or record a video and send it over and make a ticket, and the support team can help you out with that. UK 100, I don't know if I'll trade it today. Again, like I said, I did trade it last night. We caught a nice little W here. The only way I'm going to trade UK 100 is if we do end up expanding and breaking this high, which could be a while, and then I'll play that full range back up. DAX, on the other hand, I will be looking for DAX, being that we did end up breaking this low here. So probably right after stream, I'm going to set limits at equilibrium here. Stops will be at the high, and then I will be looking for obviously the push down into here. Once we get to 101, I will move to break even and look for my full 1 to 2 on DAX. So did we get taken out of break even yet? Kind of expecting it. We got a lot of volume to the upside here, so I think we might just get taken out break even here, which obviously I did want to win and have a nice little 1 to 2 day. But it'd be nice if we edge and rip down, but to be honest, we're just getting a lot of volume here, so I'm expecting a break-even day. Still can't complain. Again, like this is still really good data in the sense of we did end up having very good, you know, drop to the downside. We could have taken partials. I don't really take partials, especially because I do expect price to continue with volume, or at least I look for it into our full 1 to 2. But it looks like we're about to get taken out break-even, probably like 1 second. Still sitting at that area. All right, break-even day. So hopefully price obviously doesn't just dip back down here. It definitely could, but I'll take the break even for what it is. It's better than a loss. Price could just end up expanding higher here to take Asia highs. That could be the case, and this could have just been a momentary sell-off. But at least we still ended up getting into some nice profits. I know some of you guys made profits. If you guys took partials, great. Can you trade DAX on Legacy? No, you can't, sadly. But it is what it is. I'll take it for what it is. If you guys close that 101, great W day for you. I still consider it a W day. We didn't take a loss. We had a really good push here, but nonetheless, it looks like price does want to continue higher from here on out. Hopefully tomorrow we can come back, catch a nice little win. But I still can't complain about today, especially because UK 100 yesterday we did catch that nice win. I will be looking at UK 100 later into the night, and I will be looking to take DAX sells back to the downside here. So it looks like we will be getting our pullback sooner than later, hopefully on DAX. Bro, I think you hate gold. I fucking hate gold, yeah. I'm just not a fan of how it moves, truly. But guys, appreciate you guys joining up. Hopefully you guys made some profits. If not, it is what it is. At least you didn't lose today. Better price action, except for this. We did chop around for a bit, but finally made our way down. With that being said, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow, 11:45 p.m. PST. Again, if you are trading on your live accounts, I am expecting DAX sales here soon. I will take these for sure. See you guys tomorrow. Too bad, bro. I wish you had closed a partial. I don't close partials. Like I typically don't. We used to, but nonetheless, it was kind of hurting us and hindering us from catching our full 1 to 2s. And typically, we're just trading lower time frame structure where we usually do get that volume into our 1 to 2s. But nonetheless, we didn't have that today. We had good volume. I was hoping price did continue down. We got pretty close to our 1 to 2. But hey, it is what it is. Again, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. 11:45 p.m. PST. And again, if you guys don't remember, you can go use code Nick, get yourselves an account for tomorrow. You'll get a nice little discount if you use code Nick. So with that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time.